All right, hour number 2. Darren Smith on a Friday afternoon. I believe it is a soggy Friday afternoon out there. Hopefully that clears up in time for the weekend. It is 1:03 and taking you up until 3 o'clock. I saw Jim Sterk the other night. He's the athletic director at San Diego State. I saw him from across the court. I was sitting behind the benches in the media section, and then I was invited to go sit with the fans, my good friend Bill Habiger. So I sat there for a little bit during the game, watched San Diego State and Air Force, and I saw Jim Sterk. I saw him a couple times. I saw him sitting with the Spanoses. He was sitting right with John and A.G. Spanos for a little bit. He was sitting, and Tom Telesco was over there. And then I saw Jim Sterk because, of course, when you're the athletic director at San Diego State, I mean, you have to be there to hand out a bunch of awards at halftime for all these different sporting events. So it's always good. And then the Mountain West Conference made itself a little bit of news yesterday, though nothing official. Hopefully Jim can share some details with us. But let us go out to the Western Exterminator Hotline and say hello to the athletic director at San Diego State, Jim Sterk. Jim, good to talk to you.
Darren, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. I missed you the other night. It looked like you were having fun, though, doing a lot of pressing to the flesh.
Yeah, it was a busy night. There was a lot of good things going on, and like you said, I had some great guests there. I had been talking to A.G. Spanos, and we wanted to invite Tom Telesco and their coach, but coach couldn't make it, but we had a good group there.
Who decides who gets introduced at any particular sporting event?
It's above my pay grade.
Come on, you're the athletics director. Who are you kidding?
No, it's our marketing guys that and development, and they huddle and see who's there, and they do a great job with that. It's usually a celebrity showcase each week.
I would say so. You guys are developing a little bit of that. You know, I always ask this question to coaches and general managers in other sports, but as an athletic director, do you find that you have a lot in common with people who are in front offices of professional sports teams?
Yeah, a lot of the same challenges and issues and things. AG and I met a couple months ago, and we had lunch, and we were talking about fan behavior and things like that. So there might be something coming out with that shortly. And just there's a lot of good camaraderie. And obviously being in San Diego, it's a small, big town. So it's fun to be a part of it.
So I've heard about this up in Los Angeles. Do you mean something similar to like a code of conduct here policy that affects all the different teams or applies to all the local teams?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're working towards. And I think everyone's on board. We just need to get the right documents and put it forward. But most everyone's doing something right now, but we want to emphasize it and make sure that people have a great experience at our events.
Do you guys ever talk about the stadium?
Not too much with AG. I haven't we spent a little bit of time on it, but not in strategic sessions.
Okay, fair enough. So maybe just like common ground, casual conversation here, where we're going in the future, that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. You want to share any of those details with us?
No, thank you.
Okay, Jim Sterk is joining us. He's the athletic director at San Diego State. Is it true, though, because you always hear this from time to time, Jim, and I don't know how you do it. I mean, the feasibility, maybe not the plausibility. I'm using college words since we're talking to you. The feasibility of a stadium, a football stadium somewhere close to campus, is that still an idea that you think about or that you at least think is a possibility someday, even if it's down the road?
It is a possibility down the road, and we've gone so far as look at sites and seeing what could possibly work, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. So I want to be prepared for whatever happens, and obviously Qualcomm has turned into a good site for us with the light rail, and we get about 9,000 students for the first game and averaged over 5,000 last year. So we want to continue to build that and make it a little mini satellite campus.
Okay, well, fair enough. I always think that's an intriguing idea. The only problem is here in San Diego, it's like, where do you find the real estate to do it? It's not like there's a bunch of empty lots anyplace.
No, there's not much, and the footprint of the campus is very small given the number of students we have, so there's challenges on all those fronts.
What would be an ideal, if you were to, and I'm sorry to take you down this hypothetical road here, it wasn't my plan, but what would be an ideal number in terms of capacity for a stadium, a football stadium for San Diego State?
Good question. I think you'd want to have it at a minimum of 40 with possibilities of expanding it.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good number as well. And that's similar to some of the others that are inside the Mountain West Conference, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of which, now help us out here. I don't know what we're allowed to talk about or what we're not allowed to talk about, but it was reported yesterday by ESPN that the Mountain West Conference and ESPN are finalizing a 7-year media rights deal for the network to televise up to 22 football games, 25 men's basketball games annually. This is according to sources on ESPN who probably have some good sources. What can you tell us about this?
Well, good question. It hasn't been publicly released, but it's out there, and it's no secret that we've been in discussions with ESPN and other national carriers on this second national platform. Since the CBS deal was renegotiated, there was an opportunity to do that, and I think ESPN is the leader in the clubhouse, and I can't really get into too much detail of that, but I think it'll be very positive for the league.
And ESPN, I would still think, even in this day and age, and respectfully towards any other media partners that you might have, is there still a big difference when you say ESPN versus, let's say, pick the name of any other sports network out there?
Well, it's part of it is part of it is the revenue, part of it's the exposure, and ESPN has a platform, with ESPN and ESPN2 that over 90 million households, and that's higher than any of the other sports networks that are out there. So that's a positive, and they've built up such a brand that it really helps you build the brand of your individual school and the league, and I think it'll be very positive for San Diego State and for the Mountain West.
How comfortable is everybody in the Mountain West Conference? And by everybody, I mean everybody not named Boise State. With the deals that are happening here with them, it seems like they get a little bit of a different deal than others do. Is everybody else 100% on board and comfortable with the deals cut by Boise State?
Well, it was a deal that was cut, prior to us coming back in, and I think it was a deal that the Mountain West felt they needed to do to get both of us back, and so I think there'll still be some massaging with it. I think it's a work in progress, so we'll see how it all plays out. But I think in the end, it's each of the schools will be a part of games at Boise, so whatever exposure Boise gets there, we'll have that, and there's a lot more games than just those Boise games that'll be on ESPN. So I think there'll be a lot of, I think up to 19 on their family of network for football and 25 on basketball. So I think we plan to be, have our fair share there.
Are you from a football standpoint here, have you spoken to Rocky or Coach Long? Have you guys had a discussion about playing during the week? I mean, is there any night that you would not want to play football?
Well, yes. Ideally, it'd be mostly Thursdays. I don't necessarily like a Friday and want to stay away from that as much as we can, but I think Thursdays can work here, especially if it's a bigger game. I think we can get a great student crowd. The public, if it's a decent, the right time, I think we can draw. But so Rocky likes Thursdays actually. If there's proper, if each team has the same preparation time, and that's his qualifier, and we've made sure that's the case within the Mountain West deal.
Why does he like Thursdays?
Good question. You'd have to ask him, but I think he didn't really say. He didn't go into too much detail, but he certainly wasn't opposed to it.
And you just shrugged your shoulders and said, "Okay, Rocky likes it, so let's just move on here."
Well, it was a moot point at that point. It's basically informing him there's going to be some Thursday games, and we don't know what games will be yet, but those are still to be determined. So,
how soon do you think?
Should know something by April, I would think.
So it's possible that you guys will be playing Thursday games next year?
Yes. We might have one, I wouldn't expect more than one of a home game, but we'll see what comes out.
That's good to look forward to. I like that. We're talking to Jim Sterk, the athletic director at San Diego State. How's it been since you guys have come back into the fold here? I mean, is everything water under the bridge now, or is there still some mending of fences that needs to go on between, especially yourselves and Boise State, since you left and then came back?
I tried to take a preemptive strike. The first AD meeting, it was going to be a little awkward coming back, and so I sent an email to all my peers and asked them, what's my initiation fee for coming back in? And of course, the guy from Wyoming wanted a free tab, at the bar. But good group of guys and ladies that we deal with, and everyone understood why we left, and everyone understood why we were coming back. So it's been really positive.
Yeah, I would think you probably had to buy lunch, right? You probably had to buy lunch, buy dinner, bring a bunch of fish tacos from Rubio's or something.
Yeah, actually I got out of it, so it was a very good deal.
What do you think about now that you've had a chance to sit back and you know where you guys sit as a league? What do you think about what happened to the league that you almost joined? The great historical American 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah, those were kind of tea leaves. As I sat in meetings, I thought that the name could go with the Catholic 7 and Madison Square Garden, but there was going to be, give and take with that, and I think it ended up okay, and those guys will come out of it all right. They have a good war chest of money to help build up a brand, and so I think they'll be okay. But I think we have an opportunity. Being back in the Mountain West and with the success of basketball, and then what will happen with football with a championship game next year, I'm excited about that.
And the championship game for football, has it been determined that that'll be on campus, or is there going to be a neutral site?
No, it'll be on the campus of the highest ranked BCS standing school of the champion of the West or the Mountain.
Okay. How do you feel, and we'll end on this note, as it relates to your basketball programs? We know that the Lady Aztecs went out there and won the Mountain West Conference the other night. The men are going to play tomorrow. They're going to be playing at Boise, and then they're going to play the Mountain West Conference tournament in Vegas. Both teams will. How do you feel about where your men's basketball program is today as it relates to the NCAA tournament?
First, let me get in a little plug on the women. They play at 2 o'clock tomorrow, and you can help me award that championship trophy tomorrow, Darren. So you could have a courtside seat by me if you come to that.
Okay.
And then secondly, what was the question?
How do you feel about? Are you confident about your men's basketball team getting into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, that I think it was critical we won the Air Force game. In that, if we didn't win that, then I think it was going to be a tough road. We would have had to go either possibly to the championship game or at least the semis. Now I think if we win one more out of the combination of at Boise tomorrow at the tournament, I think we're in very good shape.
I would agree with that front. Are you going to be out in Vegas next week?
Yes, I'll be there Tuesday night.
Okay. Well, this show is going on the road. I don't know if you've been made aware of that, but we're actually going to take the show on the road for the Mountain West Conference tournament next week.
I know Marty made me promise that we would go at least till Saturday so she can stay that time.
Yeah, well, I just made a promise that you guys would get at least through Wednesday so we could do the show on Thursday or Friday there for a reason.
Okay.
So, no disrespect. Obviously, we would have the women that we could follow around on Thursday or Friday.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I will get back to you, but thank you for extending the invitation for Saturday. You guys are going to raise the banner?
Yes, actually, and give a nice ovation to the Mountain West champions. That's our seventh of this calendar year, or actually our academic year, so a good group.
She is a great coach.
Yeah, she's done a really good job, and back-to-back championships for their team, and they've got a great group of ladies that, when I started the season, I thought they could go even deeper than the men, and the men could get hot and go deep as well. So it'll be fun to see.
Always a pleasure, Jim. Thank you very much for the time.
Darren, thank you.
Thank you, Jim Sterk, athletic director at San Diego State there. So, what you get a lot of times in the ever-moving landscape, the ever-changing landscape of college athletics there, you get a little bit of an inkling as to some of the leanings here, some of the ideas that are being put forth.